Welcome to the Tech Mentorship Series. A few weeks ago, we started a particular series which we titled What Truly Matters in Your Journey to Tech. And in that series, we've been explaining and answering some very important questions that truly matters and questions you are expected to answer in your journey to tech. And this cut across different aspects from the kind of knowledge you have to what kind of skill you possess to the question of whether you're growing or you're not growing, and a whole lot of questions as regards your relationship. Who do you know? Because these are some of the questions that you need to answer while you are progressing in your tech journey. Today we are going to pick the another question to answer, and this time around we're looking at destination. Where exactly are you going to? Because truth be told, when the purpose of something is unknown, abuse becomes inevitable. And that's a popular quote attributed to Miles Monroe. And I truly believe in the ability for one to be able to identify where he or she is going. And that is quite relevant and a necessary question to answer before you even commence that particular journey. So today we'll be looking at destination. Where are you going to? So you've decided that I want to start a tech career. Good. Is that your journey? Is that your destination? I want to start a company. Is that your destination? Because many persons really start a career and they find out that that career that they've started is really not where they want to. It's like a transit uh, um, um, period or a transit location. So, what exactly is your destination? Because it's important for you to have an understanding of your destination, where you're going to, so that you are able to brace up for the level of impact you would have, for the level of sacrifice you would make, and a whole lot of that. So your destination determines what you will experience. What if you're going to let's say you're moving from Nigeria to the US, the air turbulence you're going to experience, it will be quite different from somebody that is moving from Nigeria to the British or to the UK. And the reason is simple: you have longer hours to spend when going to the US compared to when going to Britain or when going to the UK. So it's important you are able to ask yourself this question: where am I going to? What exactly do I want to achieve? How is it? Before even asking the question of how you want to achieve it, it's important to know where exactly you are going to. And that's what we'll be looking at today. So, what exactly is destination? In a simple and plain language, to me destination is the end result of your vision. It is the end result of your goal. It is the end result of your purpose, the end result of your objective. So if you have an objective and that objective does not conclude, you don't have a concluding line for your objective, then it means you don't have a destination. You will just keep wandering around one area or the other without even knowing what exactly you're doing, wandering around without knowing what you're doing, wandering around without knowing how you're going to achieve what you want to do. Yet, so it's important to have an end vision, an end goal, an end objective. That objective helps you to know what to do, what not to do, what to accept, what not to accept. But the vision, the objective, the destination should be clear and proper, and it's something that you should have deep within you. So you should also take note of the fact that your destination, if gotten well, usually pays off. So many persons they have a destination, but the destination can end in a terrible thing, especially if they didn't prepare for it, or they may not even know that they have a destination. They just want to. Everyone is going into this field. Let me go into this field, and you go into this field without having the necessary prerequisite for you to go into the field. The going into the field is your destination, but that's a terrible destination because you can go into the field and you find out that it's a wrong field that you're in. So your destination helps you cut across all the necessary parameters that makes you know whether you have succeeded or you've gotten to it or not. Because you can go to a place, if you say, yeah, I'm going to Lagos from Abuja, for example. From Abuja, I'm taking a journey to Lagos. How do you know that you're in Lagos? How do you know that you have arrived Lagos? If you don't design the parameters that helps you determine whether you have arrived Lagos, you will get to Ibadan, which is a closer city to Lagos, and you think that you're in Lagos, especially when you get to Ibadan city. So you have to begin to ask yourself, what are the parameters that helps me determine my destination? What are the parameters that help me know whether I have achieved my goals? The parameters that help me achieve my objectives. So you have to put these things early enough. These are questions you should ask early enough before even transiting into whatsoever role or whatsoever position you want to go into. It's important to know where you're going to, because your destination, if properly gotten well, or if you get to your destination, it usually pays off. But that is subject to the fact that you have been able to identify the parameters that helps you determine that, yes, I have gotten to my destination. Because some destination can be camouflage and you will think you are in your destination, but you're not. So you need to take note of that. The next thing you want to take note of is the fact that your proposed destination, I wrote it there. I said your proposed destination should determine your association, and your association should determine the kind of information you would need to achieve your goal. Very powerful statement. Where I am going to should determine the kind of people if I want to become wise, it means I have to go into the association of wise people. If I want to become foolish, which I believe no one wants to be, it means that you find yourself amongst foolish people. But truly, if you want to pursue a career in tech, the next thing is that you want to find yourself amongst the association of persons who are either already in tech or who are also having same like minds with you. So your destination should determine the kind of people you build in as a build you build as you build relationship with. Your destination should determine your association. Meanwhile, while you are in that association, you would now be fed with the right knowledge. Because you are in the right association, you'll be fed with the right knowledge, and that right knowledge would help you. The knowledge is supposed to help you achieve that goal, help you achieve that objective, or help you achieve that purpose, which eventually would mean that it is going to help you achieve or get to your destination. I want to be a software developer now. The next thing I need to do is to look for people. Get as acquainted with an association of software developers. You want to go into cybersecurity, get acquainted or find yourself within an association of cybersecurity. Because in those associations, you would hold information that you not see in other associations, because there are some kind of information that rotate within core career associations. So you have to ensure that you go into an association that holds that is quite related to the area that you pursue. If you want to become a tech entrepreneur, you have to begin to build relationship with those who have been tech entrepreneurs before, so that you can get information that would help you, or information that will help you become a become an entrepreneur, or to become a tech entrepreneur. So it's important that you know this, that your destination should largely determine the kind of association you are building, and the association should feed you with the kind of information that you need, so that you can achieve your objectives, so that you can achieve your purpose, your goals, and eventually helps you to get to your destination. So today I want to just quickly give us, on your way to, there is no journey that is smooth. It's important that whether you want to pursue a career, you want to pursue uh, a business, whether you want to learn something, whatsoever decision you want to make, or whatsoever destination, objective, or goals you want to achieve, it is quite important that it is never smooth. It is never smooth. So today I want to quickly look at those things that you encounter in your journey. Especially, I'm going to narrow it down to your tech journey. What are the things that you encounter in your tech journey? What you encounter in your tech journey You need to have an idea of the kind of things you encounter in your tech journey, so that you are able to brace up for impact. When you're in a plane and there are turbulence, you just hear the pilots will say, brace up for impact, brace up for impact. If you are not given that information, you can be caught unaware. So now I'm here to give you the kind of information or the things you encounter. You must, well, not must, but most of these things, in most cases, you encounter them in your tech journey. Whether it is a career you want to pursue, or you want to pursue the business route, as long as tech is concerned, you have to decide, or you have to know the kind of info. You have to be acquainted with the things you would encounter. Just as if you're moving from one destination to another. There are if you're moving, if you're on a road trip in some part of Nigeria, not all, some part of Nigeria, there are times where you would sadly encounter some terrible roads, that would make the car look as though that gets quite an adventurous experience for those of us that are in Nigeria. But the bottom line is, you encounter obstacles. There are times you will encounter detour. Encountering detour doesn't mean that you should stop, because the detour may just be that you will be limited, you will be restricted, but it shouldn't stop you from achieving your goal. Instead, it should redirect you to getting that purpose, because there are always objectives to every detour that you get. If you are objective to look at, if you're an objective person, to look at it from that perspective. So yeah, I want us to look at those things that you encounter in your journey to tech. So the first thing that you encounter in your journey to tech is the fact that whether it is career, you would encounter failure. That's the first thing. Like I said, I started by telling you that nothing is smooth. You would fail. You will not fail big. Some of your decisions can be terrible. Even with the whole lot of information, some of the decisions can be terrible. There is the possibility for you to fail. You want to build a software. You spend 6 months developing a software because you want to build an innovative product. After 6 months, you have tested the software. The software is working perfectly. Everything is going smooth. The day you go live on the software, you begin to see bugs that you've never seen. And the bugs can be so damaging enough that it will give the first 20, first 100, first 50 people, first 500 persons bad experience about the software, and their review can be terrible enough to prevent the next set of persons from using your software. And that can crash your system. Failure is one necessary thing. As long as tech is concerned, you will fail. You may not always fail, but failure is, like I told us, failure is a kind of mindset that we in tech we possess, because we have that belief that everything you do, it's not everything that will succeed, but generally you fail for the purpose of knowledge, not that you are failing for the purpose of deterrent or prevent, or you are failing to be prevented from getting your goal. You're just, like I told us, I've always said this, I'll continue to say it. Failure is not for the purpose of stopping you. Failure is for the purpose of making you know that something can't work certain way, or in a certain way. So failure is one thing. The way 2012, I started by getting I wanted to start a business, so I got that. That was when BPO, business process outsourcing was booming, and a whole lot of countries were converting their data from form to they are digitizing their paperwork. So most of the works are going to India and all of that. And Indians, you're looking for other countries that have the necessary requirements to be able to carry out that data entry procedure. So me being someone that is always, I am always innovative, or I want to do something new. I saw the opportunities, and I decided to, what, let me get in touch with an Indian person or someone that I know that does all of these. And I got in try. I went online, searched for it, and I got somebody that was willing. He was willing to uh, give me some of those data to impute, but I will need to provide some level of evidence that I have computer systems, I have a group of persons that will be willing to impute this data and enter the data accurately, because you are paid based on the number of data that you impute. So the registration fee was quite an amount, and it was an amount that I didn't have, and I couldn't at that point in time, because I was still growing. So what I did was I sold the idea to I met two of my bosses, and I sold the ideas of the BPO to them, outsourcing. I said, there is this data entry thing. We impute data, and based on the number of data that we impute, you're being paid, and you can be paid as high as 50 naira per data. But the registration fee, I've forgotten quite an amount, maybe around 300,000 then, way back 2012, 2011, and 2012, 2013. So and I couldn't raise that, so I was looking for people that could partner with me to raise the registration. So I brought 50,000 part payment. I my one of my bosses gave me what's it called, um another 50,000. The other one said to me, I'm not interested in the business, but I like the fire, I like your drive, so I'm going to loan you 50,000. So I had 100,000, and the other person had 50,000, and the other I had 50,000. I was loaned 50,000, and the third person invested 50,000 as part of his risk in the business. And we made the payment. I made the payment because they don't have contact with the Indian guys. I do. So um, uh, I contacted them, did all the necessary registration, and that was part payment, actually, because they said there's first phase registration, second phase registration. Now we started the process, and because of it, they now said, okay, it's time for you to get the balance. I think the balance was around 100,000, but I've really forgotten. But it was time for the second part payment, and there was no way I could get. I couldn't go back to them to say, hey, I need additional money. There was no way I could borrow. There was no way I could get. And I announced, just said to them, please, can I get a refund? And they said, no, it's non-refundable. And they said, no. And I began to threaten them and threaten them. It didn't work out. And that's how I lost 150,000 naira investment then. And I had to now start paying the loan. And just imagine now, how do you confront your boss? You're working in the same office with them, and you now say, so this money is gone, and all of that and all of that. It was a bad experience for me. So, but my drive, my point of emphasis is I failed woefully, because one, I didn't get counsel, I didn't get advice. I just saw an opportunity, explored the opportunity, and it just made it look as though that I was not ready for it. So I failed woefully. So you don't, in tech, you will fail. You may find out that because everybody is going into data analysis now, because that's in thing, and you decide to go into data analysis. There's actually one of my students at the 100,000 Tech Camp project, the free 100,000 Tech Camp project that we're running at HTC Academy, to train 100,000 professionals in digital skills. So I think the person felt everyone is doing data analysis, and let 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 her do data analysis, and decide to apply for data analysis. Not even just one person. I have a couple of persons who actually applied for data analysis because they felt data analysis is the in thing. Now they are into data analysis, and they are seeing a whole lot of calculations, mathematical regressions, and all those formulas and all of that. And it's turning their head, and because they were not built for it, and they had to meet me and say, sir, please, I will need to change. I'll need to change. Why? Because they were not prepared for it. So if they had gone into it fully, and they would just fail in that field, because that's not what they are meant for. That's not what they are built for. So, like I said, failure is not to stop you from achieving your goal or stop you from achieving your purpose. Is to make you know that that possibility does not exist as long as you're concerned. So that's the first thing you encounter. You encounter failure. The second thing you encounter is that you encounter knowledge catch up. Tech is a dynamic industry that grows day in, day out. You don't go to tech and expect to use the knowledge you gained yesterday today. You use the knowledge you gained today for today, and tomorrow's knowledge is waiting for you to acquire it. You don't just go into tech and expect to um, tech is so dynamic that you get outdated once you graduate from a computer science program because those techniques, those methods are completely obsolete. So you have to begin to do what is known as knowledge catch up. You have to now continue to learn. It's a whether it is the business you want to go into, the tech business, or you want to go into tech career. You just know that you are always trying to catch up with what is happening because if you turn your back for 1, 2, 3 months, you just find out that what you knew then is completely different from what is happening now. So you are always going to be catching up. It is one challenge, it is one thing that you must encounter. You are building up your skill. You will always need certification. You always need to acquire new knowledge. You don't work only with existing knowledge. You always add new knowledge to the body of knowledge or body of truth that you have. That is tech for you. Unlike medicine, is the way they used to the techniques may differ, but the purpose and all of that can still be achieved, and those old techniques can still work. So you can start to use the old method of carrying out operation. It will still work in this present day and time. Whether if you're a doctor, for example, or sorry, if you're a surgeon, for example, how you carry out surgical operation, you can use the old method and it will still work now. But in tech, if a technique has changed, all the processes and the technology that makes that technique, the old techniques to be useful, will also change. So you will have no choice but to change alongside the technology. And technology is on a continual basis, it keeps evolving. And these are things you are expected to also evolve alongside this technology. If not, you become obsolete. So that's the second thing. That's the second thing that you are expected that's the second thing you're expected to encounter in tech. The third thing you're expected to encounter in your tech journey are difficult decisions. Truth be told, you're going to encounter some very, very difficult decisions. Because we are all of different mindsets, we have different valuables, different values, and there are times where your values can, to a large extent, contradict with another person's values. Or when you're doing programming, there is you can have, if you're programming a calculator, for example, someone can program a calculator with 1,000 lines. Another person can program that same calculator that will produce the same output with 100 lines of code. And you begin to ask yourself, how is this person programming doing the same thing with 100 lines of code, and the other person is doing with the same thing with 1,000 lines of code? It's just the way they think. So different persons have different thinking patterns, and these thinking patterns in some cases can contradict each other, can conflict in the kind, based on the kind of decisions that we make. So it's important that you have an understanding that difficult decisions will be taken in your journey. You know, having worked for an organization for about 9 years, I decided that, what, my time is very important to me. And because it is very important to me, I'm going to prioritize. It's going to be one of my most valuable assets. My time is going to be one of my most valuable assets. And because of that, every job I go to, I usually don't negotiate based on I usually don't negotiate because I want to work. One of the things I use in negotiating is my time. So if I'm charging you for a training, I charge you based on my time. So the training, I will ask you how many hours is the training going to be? How many days is it going to be? So I use time as the parameter to charge for my trainings. So if I am to work before then, if I am to work for an organization, I will usually tell them that I'm not willing to do 9 to 5. I don't. If you can either engage me as a consultant, or you give me the flexibility of working and managing the managing the department, be it the IT department or the cybersecurity department, uh, at my own flexible time, knowing fully I will put in all the necessary measures in place to ensure that my absence is not missed, but my time cannot be boxed in a cannot be covered in a flags. My time is not is precious to me, and it's something that I consider to be very very valuable. So because of that, in the course of negotiation, there was one company I had that negotiation with the COO. I told him I can't. The challenges I have a company I'm running, which is my personal company. I still wouldn't mind managing your IT department, but I need the flexibility that you can give for me to be able to manage your IT department and also run my company. And the CEO, the operation officer, the chief operation officer told me, "Yeah, Hanniel, that's fine. As long as we would not, when we need you, you'll be available, and try to be available for the board meetings. And if there are clarification, we can always reach out to you and all of that." And I was open to that, and I said, "Okay, that's fine." So I worked there for like 2 years. Then he resigned, and another person came, and the person now said, "Hey, you have to start coming to work 9 to 5." I said, "Okay, I'm sorry, that was not the agreement I had with the last person, and as a result of that, I will have to leave." And that's how I left. Difficult decisions. Difficult decisions. So you have to learn to difficult decisions, especially when the now take note. When I use the word difficult decision, it means that the decision contradicts with your value and also your valuables. Your values and your valuables. Like me, time is my valuable. I consider it to be my valuable. So there are times whereby there's someone will tell you cut corners, and to you, you don't believe that is right. That's your value. And you said, "No, I won't do that." And they'll tell you, "We have to let you go because we gave you an instruction." Oh, yeah, it contradicts with my values, so I have to leave. So it's important that you take note of the fact that there will be time in your tech journey, whether it is business and uh, career, where difficult decisions will have to be made. There are times where somebody will send you, will pay your school fees and all of that, and you have to grow because the person is not willing to grow. The person has send you through school, and there was no concrete agreement that you have to work with the person. There was no, and the person just sent you for. It can be difficult when you want to leave the person's organization, especially when there is no formal agreement that binds it. But yeah, if the organization is not growing and you want to grow, because time is valuable, is a valuable asset to you, and you are at your productive age, it's important that you leave. So it can be difficult, but my brother, my sister, please leave. It's sad. It will be sad, but you have to leave. You have to leave, especially if you're not even seeing prospect in the organization. If there's prospect in the organization, yeah, you can decide to give it a couple of more years to see how fast it will grow. But if there's no prospect, please leave. So these are some of the difficult decisions that you would have to make in your journey, in your this is one of the things you have to encounter in your tech journey. You have to make difficult decisions. And the fourth and final thing that you need to encounter in your tech journey is that you have to make a lot of sacrifice. Yes, sacrifices are uh, a system. Sacrifices largely are systems of well, sacrifices are metrics to determine love. So if you truly love where you want to get to, if you truly love the destination you're going to, if you truly want to be able to get there early, get there on time, get there with limited um, um, get there with limited bruises, you would have to make a lot of sacrifices. A lot. You will sacrifice your time, you sacrifice your energy, you sacrifice your there are times where you have to almost sacrifice your family. There will be no time for you to spend with your family. You're not you I mean what I mean family is like family time and all of that, because you're working late into the night. Before you come back from work, your children are sleeping. Before they wake up, you are out in the morning. These are not things you do forever. These are things you do for the time being until you are able to achieve your goal, or until you're able to get to your destination. But sacrifices are mandatory, they are necessary. they are important. That is how you used to build system, because that's also how you used to gather knowledge. When I was working and schooling, I would work I get to work. I'm expected to be at work before 8 a.m. So I have to be at work by 8 and I close by 5. After closing, I don't leave the house because the work gave me the opportunity for me to be able to use the internet in the office. So I would now have to study from 5 to 11. Then that's when I will now start going home. I may be getting home then by 12. And that's a huge sacrifice. That's what I was doing for like 6 years because I was studying and working. So I work 8 hours, 9 hours. I study 5 hours at most. So I studied 5 hours at most, 6 hours. Then I'll not start going home. So it was a huge sacrifice from my end. Nobody knew what was going on. I just knew that I was making a whole lot of sacrifice in the office, sacrifice at home. There are times whereby I would be on my way home because I was the head of an IT unit. So on my way home, they will call me that, hey, the system has crashed, I have to turn back. So it was a whole lot of sacrifice I had to make. And that is paying off now. Then I didn't have the time. Now I have a whole lot of time to myself, even though the time now, I now allocate what I do with the time and all of this. So sacrifice, you're not just sacrificing your time, you're going to sacrifice your resources. Okay, yeah, this is my book, Cyberspace Chronicles. Now, this book I have given out free copies of this book than the numbers of it's a book that is not for free. It's actually for sale, and it's on Amazon. It's on Seller and all of that. My two books, Becoming a Tech Expertpreneur and this Cyberspace Chronicles. So this particular book, I have given more of this book as gift than the amount that I have sold, and it was an intentional act. I didn't just The book is a book that tends to talk about the cyberspace, predicting the future. I started talking about this book. I started talking about AI way back in uh, 2000, and before the old ChatGPT came up, how a lot of persons will lose their job, the importance of automated systems as long as war is concerned, predicting a whole lot of things. They are all written in this book. And I started talking about it. And this book likely comprised of our over 142 different policies that I had recommended to the Nigerian government. In fact, the subtitle is Exploring Digital Technologies, the Cyber Criminals Mindset, and the Need for Cyber Police in Nigeria Case Study. So it's largely a Nigerian case study book. And I've met different head of agencies, parastatals, military personnel, security agencies, and I've given them a copy of this book. And someone said, Hanniel, why are you giving a copy of your book free? They should go and buy it. I said, no. The destination is more important than the resources I have now. There's a destination I need to get to. And giving out this book for free is a sacrifice to getting to that destination. So I give out this book free of charge. Now, the 100,000 Tech Camp project, that's the 100,000 Tech Career Apprenticeship and Mentorship Program that we started earlier this year, where we intend to train 100,000 persons, youth between the age of 17 and 35 in digital skills. That project is for free. We're not charging any student any amount. They are coming the way they are, and the goal is come as you are, but you definitely not leave the way you came. We wanted to be able to build skills in these persons because in the course of our research, I realized that a lot of persons will lose their job. In fact, the recent report that was published by Goldman recently showed that about 300 million persons, which is like 5% of the population, if not between 4 to 5% of the global population, will lose their job as a result of automation, AI, and all those emerging technologies. That made me to say, you know what, let me start a skill initiative a digital skill initiative that would train people for free. And so there I met a lady at the airport sometime, and the lady was, hey, Hanniel, why are you doing this thing for free? This is what people pay thousands and millions of naira for. I say, yes, I'm doing it for free now because there is a destination I am hoping to get to. And doing these things for free would help me get to that destination faster or quicker. So sacrifice is important. Sacrifice is necessary. There are times people who may not understand why you are making those sacrifices. Please don't stop. Make those sacrifices because they can be instrumental for you in future, especially when you want to achieve your goal. So these are the things that are important. These are the things that are necessary. These are the things you are expected to have. These are the skills you are expected to. These are the things you would encounter. These are just four of the things you encounter in your journey to tech. Let me just go through them. The first is that you would encounter failure. You're not going to be the first person to fail. You will definitely not be the last person to fail. Most of the time, you may even have all the necessary information with you, but the decision you made would still make you fail. It's not for the purpose of stopping you from getting to your destination. Instead, it is aimed at ensuring that you are able to know that certain things can't work certain way. Number two, you will always be in tech. You are always doing the catch up, knowledge catch up. The knowledge you acquire today can only be used for today. Tomorrow's knowledge is waiting for you to acquire it. So you are always learning, and the day you stop learning, you become obsolete. Number three, you will take difficult decisions. Decisions that would separate you from friends, decisions that will separate you from decisions that will separate you from your organization or the organization you work for. Some decisions can be quite challenging and difficult, especially when the decisions contradict with your valuables and also your values. Then number four, sacrifices have to be made. In your journey to tech, you will make sacrifice because seeds are sacrifice. When you sow a seed, it is a sacrifice you're making for you to have bountiful harvest. It's important to you take or you have an understanding that whether it is a career you are pursuing or it is a tech business you want to start, these things are expected you are expected to encounter these things so that you're able to get to your destination. These challenges that you encounter is not to stop you. The goal is not to stop you. The goal is to make you know certain things. And when you are able to learn that thing, it's easier for you to use that to mentor others. So that's what we have for you today in the Tech Mentorship series. And this is part 6 of what truly matters in your journey to tech. And next week, we're going to be taking the last session of this particular series on what truly matters in your journey to tech. So see you next week where we'll take the last session. My name is Hanniel H. Jafaru, and I am the Tech Mentor.